Sewer William Seal.
Mr. Speaker, I grew up in Otara and went to school with many Māori peers who either could trace their heritage back to Ngāpuhi or Tainui, and learnt from them, sir, when they introduced themselves at the Māori class 3rd and 4th form that I took, about their references to the maunga and their references to the awa, to the mountain and to the river, which emphasised, sir, for the Indigenous people of New Zealand, Aotearoa New Zealand, how important the environment is. In later years, sir, as I gained a better appreciation of my own cultures, Samoan in particular, I learnt how we as Samoans viewed the sky, the lands, the trees, the fishes, all as having spirits, all having human characteristics of their own. And in the older generation valued the environment so much so that they treated each one of those characteristics of the environment as if it was a member of their family. And so I raise those 2 points because that's the point of view that I come to this debate on. And I'm sure that I'm not alone in that, with other members of this House who will share a similar value when it comes to our environment. I also raise that at the outset, sir, because when this bill was introduced, I think our initial stance was that we would support it, given the fact that our rivers today have this weed growing through it. In fact, some of our lakes, we can no longer swim in it. Once upon a time, as a young man in Otara, I used to fish in some of our lakes. We can't do that anymore. And that is because, by and large, we, as a collective group of people, have contributed to the degradation of our environment, polluted it through our economic activities, or done something that have harmed the environment. And so when the government said that they will introduce this bill, and that this bill would allow us, government, to a group of people to report to this House about the state of our environment, Labor's first instance was that we would take up this opportunity because at least then we would have the facts and the data that would show us what we have done wrong with regard to our environment and how we could better improve our situation going forward. After all, we as a country pride ourselves on this clean, green image. We've used that image to sell our wares throughout the entire world. In fact, we've branded ourselves to that brand where there is high expectation that we maintain that brand. And we saw the opportunity in this bill that if this reporting continued, that over time we would improve the way that we conducted ourselves and the activities which impacted the environment, that by and large we would end up by keeping the environment safe, by ensuring that the state of our environment would be left, if not in the same, or at least in a better situation for the next generation. You see, from an Indigenous point of view, the land and the environment, the skies, the air, the trees, do not belong to us. They are part of who we are. They contribute to our survival. And therefore, we've got to look after the environment. And we saw the opportunity that if the bill was right, was worded right, the information was independent, that we would be on the same pathway collectively as a nation, irrespective of who was in government, that we would get the correct information, and that whoever was in power would do the right thing by acting on it and ensuring that, one, we continue to protect the environment for the next generation, two, that we would maintain and even enhance our brand of our clean, green Aotearoa New Zealand. But alas, when it went to the Select Committee and we began to hear the submissions from the public, and I would say from some very significant experts in the field of environment, they said that to get it right, the information must be independent. And to get it right, it must be peer-reviewed by an independent organisation or individuals. That's not what's going to happen here. What's going to happen here, sir, is that this government wants to be able to control the information it releases. It wants to control the information that the public looks at. It wants to control whatever environmental reporting are made available. In fact, sir, they do not want the public to get the full and complete truth when it comes to the state of our environment. And that's the sad thing about it, because we must, as a matter of principle, must vote against this bill, sir, because it does nothing of what this bill was written up and set out to do. In fact, if we look at the general policy statement, the purpose of the bill is to create a national level environmental reporting system which ensures that reporting of our environment occurs on a regular basis and can be trusted by the public as independent, fair and accurate. Those are the key words, that this information can be trusted by the public as being independent, fair and accurate. And the submission we heard from doctors and professors, experts, I call them, experts in the field of environment, they said that as far as they're concerned, if the government continues to try and control information as they've set out in this bill, that information will not achieve accuracy, independence, fair, and therefore, sir, it's just a bloody waste of time, because they have no intention. What that signals to me, sir, and signals to people who care about the environment and care about the next generation and the kind of environment that we leave for them, is that group there don't care. They don't care one iota, because it is their belief that'll be somebody else's responsibility. They don't care what happens to this environment. And I'll give you another example that shows why they don't care, sir, about the environment. I introduced, as part of the process, a supplementary order paper asking that, including in this report, would also, that they could include in the reporting the impacts of our social and economic activities on the state of the environment in the Pacific. Because there is a link. There's a link between our economic activities and what is occurring in terms of climate change and the ecosystem and the people of the Pacific. They did not support it. And this week, sir, we had a person from Kiribati who was deported, and who this government refused to acknowledge the fact that he is being deported to a land that is literally sinking as a result of climate change and the impact of our economic activities, not just us, but other big nations. And further proof that they don't care, in the South Pacific Forum, it's been reported to me by leaders of the Pacific that both Australia and representatives of this government treated climate change as it was a joke. That, sir, tells me that their rhetoric is one thing, but their actions is something totally different. And despite what their flowery words are about this piece of legislation, it will do nothing. It will do nothing to improve or protect the environment, because the information is going to be controlled, and it will not, therefore, achieve what the bill was set out to do: provide independent, fair and accurate information on the state of our environment.
Todd Muller.